The grand hall of the Koru Imperial Palace shone with gleaming lights. Hundreds of the reptilian Koru gathered to celebrate their greatest hero. Commander Taehyun stood tall, his scaled skin catching the light as he walked toward Emperor Sung. "Kneel, Commander," said Emperor Sung, his voice deep and powerful. Taehyun knelt on one knee, bowing his head. His heart beat fast with pride. Today marked his 100th successful hunt of the dangerous creatures known as humans. "Rise, hunter of humans," Emperor Sung said. "Today we honor your service to the Koru Empire." The crowd cheered as Emperor Sung placed a medal on Taehyun's chest. The medal showed a Koru warrior standing over a fallen human. It was the highest honor any hunter could receive. "Tell us of your latest hunt, Commander," Emperor Sung said, sitting back on his throne. Taehyun turned to face the crowd. "The human ship entered our space near the Zeta sector. They thought their sensors could detect us." He laughed, showing his sharp teeth. "But as always, humans are too simple to match Koru technology." The crowd laughed with him. Since childhood, every Koru learned that humans were dangerous but inferior creatures. They lacked the strength, speed, and intelligence of the Koru. What made humans worth hunting was their unpredictable nature and their strange ability to create trouble. "We disabled their engines with one shot," Taehyun continued. "When they tried to send a distress signal, we blocked it. The hunt lasted only 2 hours." He left out how one human had almost escaped. That detail wasn't important for the story. From the side of the hall, Taehyun's younger sister Ju-woo watched quietly. Unlike her brother, she worked in the science division. She studied humans and their behavior instead of hunting them. "The humans begged for mercy," Taehyun said, enjoying how the crowd hung on his every word. "They always do. We took their captain for questioning and sent the others back to Earth with a clear message: stay out of Koru space." Emperor Sung nodded with approval. "Commander Taehyun, your hunts bring glory to our empire. The humans must learn they are no match for the apex predators of the galaxy." After the stories and cheers, Emperor Sung raised his hand for silence. "Commander, I have a special mission for you, one that will bring even greater glory to your name." The hall went quiet. Taehyun stood straighter, ready for any challenge. "The Imperial Zoo is building a new exhibit," the Emperor said. "We want to display the creatures we have conquered and those we hunt. We have specimens from many worlds, but none from Earth." Taehyun understood immediately. "You want me to capture a live human for the zoo?" "Yes, not just any human. Bring us a fine specimen that shows their species clearly, one that can survive in captivity, and show our people what these creatures truly are." This was more than a hunt. This was making history. No Koru had ever brought a living human back to their homeworld before. "I accept this honor, Emperor Sung," Taehyun said, bowing again. Later, at the celebration feast, Ju-woo approached her brother. Unlike Taehyun, who had the typical Koru warrior build, tall with powerful muscles, Ju-woo was smaller with quick, careful movements. "Congratulations, brother," she said. "The whole empire talks of your hunting skills." "Thank you, Ju-woo." Taehyun put a hand on her shoulder. "Soon they will see a real human with their own eyes. No more learning from pictures and stories." Ju-woo hesitated. "Taehyun, in my research, I found some strange things about humans. Things that don't match what we're taught." Taehyun laughed. "Research is fine, sister, but I've faced humans directly. Trust me, they are just as the stories say, dangerous but weak. Their only strength is their unpredictable nature." "Perhaps," Ju-woo said quietly. "But I wonder if we truly understand these creatures at all." Taehyun didn't hear her final words. He was already turning to accept more praise from the crowd, dreaming of the glory his next hunt would bring. The Koru ship, Silent Claw, moved through space without making a sound. It was the best hunting vessel in the Empire. Commander Taehyun stood on the bridge, looking at the star map showing Earth's solar system. "Our target is here," Taehyun said, pointing to a small moon near a giant planet. "Europa, one of Jupiter's moons. Human miners worked there, far from their main defenses. Minho, Taehyun's second-in-command, nodded. Perfect hunting ground. Isolated, few escape routes. Taehyun had chosen his crew carefully. Minho had been with him on 50 hunts. Officer Do-hyun handled weapons and tactical planning. Both were strong warriors who never questioned orders. Remember, Taehyun told them, Emperor Sung wants a live capture. We need a healthy human who can survive in our zoo. The crew checked their equipment. The ship carried special nets, stun weapons, and cages designed for human captives. Everything was built to disable without killing. Commander, a voice called from the doorway. Taehyun turned to see his sister Ju. What are you doing here? He asked, surprised. This is a hunting mission, not a science trip. Ju stepped onto the bridge. I requested to join as a scientific observer. The Emperor approved it this morning. Taehyun frowned. This is no place for scientists. Ju, if we're going to keep a human in our zoo, we need to understand how they live, she replied. My research will help keep the specimen alive. Minho laughed. They're simple creatures. Give them food and water, and they survive. Ju looked at the star map. Humans have spread to several planets and moons. Simple creatures don't build space colonies. They use technology they barely understand, Taehyun said. Without their machines, they're nothing. Ju wanted to argue but stayed silent. She had brought secret research with her, human communications she had intercepted and studied. The official reports about humans didn't match what she had found, but no one would believe her without proof. 3 days later, the Silent Claw reached Jupiter's orbit. Through the ship's window, they saw the massive gas giant, its swirling storms visible even from far away. Europa, their target, looked tiny next to it, a ball of ice orbiting the huge planet. Activate cloaking shields, Taehyun ordered. The ship disappeared from sight and from sensors. No human technology could detect them now. As they approached Europa, they saw the human mining base. It was larger than expected, with dozens of buildings connected by tunnels under the icy surface. There are more humans than our reports showed, Do-hyun said, checking the sensors. At least 300 in the main complex. Taehyun wasn't worried. More choices for our capture. We'll watch them for a day, find their routines, then take one from an isolated area. The Silent Claw landed on Europa's surface, 2 miles from the human base. The ice crunched under the ship, but their cloaking technology kept them hidden. For hours, they watched the base through powerful scopes. Humans in spacesuits moved between buildings, operating large drilling machines that dug into the ice. Look how they struggle with the simplest tasks, Minho said, watching a team of humans working together to repair equipment. It takes 5 of them to do what one Koru could do. Ju studied them carefully. They work together well. See how they communicate and divide the work. Taehyun spotted a small outpost separate from the main base. There, he said, pointing. That will be our target area. Humans go there in small groups for sensor maintenance. He turned to his crew with a confident smile. Tomorrow, we'll capture our specimen. One human, separated from the others. Clean and simple. Ju looked uncertain. Brother, I've been monitoring their communications. These humans seem more organized than we thought. They have regular check-ins and security protocols. All prey has habits and patterns, Taehyun replied. That makes them predictable. And what is predictable can be hunted. As night fell on Europa's icy surface, Taehyun prepared his hunting gear. This would be his greatest achievement, bringing the first live human to Delzar. His name would be remembered forever. What he didn't know was that this hunt would change everything he believed about humans, about the Koru Empire, and about himself. Morning on Europa came as a slight brightening of the dark sky. Jupiter loomed large above, its massive form casting a dim light on the icy surface. Commander Taehyun and his crew prepared for the hunt. Our target is approaching, Do-hyun said, watching through the scope. One human, female, heading to the sensor outpost. Taehyun looked through his own scope. The human wore a white spacesuit with blue markings. On the suit's shoulder was a name, HFY. She's alone. Perfect, Taehyun said. Minho, prepare the capture net. Do-hyun, ready the stun weapons. Ju-woo watched from behind them. Her equipment looks advanced. She noted, look at the scanner she's carrying. Taehyun ignored his sister's comment. In his mind, human technology was crude, copied from other species they had encountered. Nothing to worry about. Move the ship closer, he ordered. We'll land behind that ice ridge. It will hide us even if our cloaking fails. The silent claw glided smoothly across Europa's surface, its engines making no sound. The cloaking shield bent light around the ship, making it invisible to human eyes and sensors. As they positioned themselves near the outpost, Ju studied the human named Hyjin. She walked with confidence, checking equipment and taking readings. Brother, something isn't right, Ju said. Look at how she's scanning the area. It's almost like she's looking for something. Humans always look nervous, Taehyun replied. They know they don't belong here. The plan was simple. Wait until the human entered the small outpost, then cut off her communications, enter through the airlock, and capture her before she could call for help. She's inside, Minho reported, moving to position. Taehyun led the capture team toward the outpost. They moved quickly across the ice, their suits protecting them from the extreme cold of Europa. The cloaking technology in their suits made them nearly invisible. Then something unexpected happened. As they approached the outpost, their cloaking shields flickered. For just 2 seconds, they became visible. It had never happened before. Inside the outpost, Hyjin looked up suddenly. She stared directly at them, though they were invisible again. Then she pressed a button on her wrist. She saw us, Do-hyun said in shock. How is that possible? The cloaking failed, Taehyun growled. Move in now. We must capture her before she warns the others. They rushed toward the outpost, but instead of panicking as humans usually did, Hyjin remained calm. She pressed more buttons on her console. Suddenly, loud alarms blared across the entire mining colony. Red lights flashed on all buildings. First contact protocol activated. A mechanical voice announced from speakers around the base. Unknown entities detected. Defense systems online. Taehyun couldn't believe what he was hearing. How do they have first contact protocols? They shouldn't know about other species. Before they could reach the outpost, the ground beneath them lit up with glowing lines. A dome of energy formed around the entire human base. It's a shield, Minho shouted. They have planetary shield technology. This was impossible. According to Koru intelligence, humans had no such technology. They were supposed to be easy prey, not prepared for alien contact. From the main base, smaller vehicles emerged, heading toward them. The human defenders moved with coordination that shocked Taehyun. Back to the ship, he ordered. Now. As they ran back to the silent claw, energy blasts struck the ice around them. The humans weren't trying to hit them directly. They were hurting them away from the base. They reached the ship and quickly took off, but 3 human vessels pursued them. How can they see us? Do-hyun yelled, as another blast hit their shields. The cloaking system is failing, Ju reported from the scanner. Something is interfering with it. A direct hit rocked the silent claw. Warning lights flashed across the control panel. Engine damage, Minho reported. We're losing altitude. Taehyun grabbed the controls, trying to keep the ship stable. For the first time in his life, he felt fear during a hunt. The humans weren't running away. They were fighting back with technology the Koru thought they didn't have. Brace for impact, he shouted as the silent claw plunged toward Europa's icy surface. A hunter had become the hunted. The silent claw hit Europa's surface hard. Ice cracked under the ship as it slid across the frozen ground before stopping. Inside, the Koru crew were thrown against their safety harnesses. Damage report, Taehyun demanded, once the ship stopped moving. Minho checked the control panels. Main engine offline. Cloaking system damage. Life support working, but backup power only. Communications? Taehyun asked. Offline, Ju answered. We can't call for help. A groan came from the back of the bridge. Officer Do-hyun lay on the floor, a piece of broken equipment on top of him. Dark blue blood pooled beneath his body. Do-hyun is injured, Ju said, rushing to his side. She removed the metal piece and examined his wound. It's bad. The metal cut deep into his side. Taehyun looked out the ship's window. The human base was 2 miles away. Their ship had crashed near a small ridge that hid them from direct view, but the humans would find them soon. How long until we can repair the ship? Taehyun asked. Minho studied the damage report. 3 days for basic repairs. Maybe a week before we can fly again. And Do-hyun? Taehyun looked at his injured officer. Ju shook her head. Without proper medical equipment, his condition will get worse. Koru bodies aren't made for such cold environments. The wound won't heal on its own. Taehyun faced a difficult choice. They were stranded on a human-controlled moon. Their ship damaged, 1 crew member seriously injured, and no way to call for help. We need to find shelter, he decided. Minho, scan the area. Look for any place we can hide while we repair the ship. The scanner showed a small structure half a mile away. It appeared to be an abandoned human outpost, likely used during the early days of the mining operation. We'll move there, Taehyun said. Take only what we need. Food, weapons, medical supplies, and repair tools. They carefully moved Do-hyun onto a stretcher. He was conscious but weak from blood loss. His scales had turned a pale gray color. Leave me, Do-hyun said. I'll slow you down. No one gets left behind, Taehyun replied firmly. That's not the Koru way. They left the ship, walking slowly across Europa's icy surface. Each step was difficult in the low gravity. The abandoned outpost grew larger as they approached. It was a simple dome structure with a small airlock. Inside, they found basic human equipment, chairs, tables, and empty storage containers. The power was off, but Minho managed to activate the emergency systems. Dim lights flickered on, and warm air began to flow. It's not much, but it will keep us alive, Minho said. They set up a makeshift medical area for Do-hyun. Ju used their limited supplies to clean and cover his wound. This won't be enough, she said quietly to Taehyun. He needs real medical care. Taehyun looked through the small window at the human base in the distance. Their lights glowed against Europa's dark landscape. We could, Ju started to say. No, Taehyun cut her off. We will not seek help from humans. You know what they do to captured aliens. The stories of their torture chambers are known throughout the galaxy. Ju frowned. But what if those stories aren't true? What if? Enough, Taehyun snapped. We are Koru. We will find our own solution. As night fell, Taehyun used a telescope to watch the human base. Search parties had been sent out, their vehicles moving across the ice in a careful pattern. They were looking for the crashed ship. They're searching in a grid pattern, he told Minho. Very organized. Not what I expected. Humans are full of surprises today, Minho replied bitterly. Through the telescope, Taehyun watched a group of humans gathered around a large screen. They weren't acting scared or confused. They moved with purpose, like soldiers who had trained for this situation. For the first time, Taehyun wondered if everything he had been taught about humans was wrong. 2 days passed in the abandoned outpost. Do-hyun's condition grew worse. His breathing became shallow, and his scales turned almost white. Koru bodies needed special medicine to fight infections in alien environments. He won't last another day, Ju said to Taehyun, her voice low so Do-hyun couldn't hear. We need medicine. Real medicine. Taehyun looked at his loyal officer with worry. Do-hyun had saved his life on 3 different hunts. He couldn't just let him die. What do you suggest? Taehyun asked, already knowing the answer. The human base has medical supplies. Ju said, I could sneak in and take what we need. They wouldn't even know I was there. It's too dangerous, Taehyun argued. They have sensors everywhere. Do we have another choice? Ju asked. That night, after Taehyun finally agreed, Ju prepared for her mission. She took a small stun weapon and a pack for carrying supplies. Be careful, Taehyun told his sister. If you see any humans, hide. Don't try to fight them. I'm a scientist, not a hunter, Ju reminded him with a small smile. Hiding is what I do best. She slipped out into the cold night. Europa's surface was lit by distant Jupiter and the stars above. Ju moved slowly towards the human base, using ice formations for cover. As she got closer, she saw the base was less guarded than expected. The humans seemed more concerned with their work than with security. Ju found a small maintenance door on the edge of the facility. Using a Koru electronic tool, she bypassed the lock and slipped inside. The warm air felt strange after days in the cold outpost. She followed signs with pictures of medical symbols, hoping to find supplies. But as Ju turned a corner, she ran directly into a human. It was the female from before, Hyjin. Both froze in surprise. Before Ju could react, another human appeared behind her. This one was male, taller, wearing a security uniform with the name Jinwong on it. Don't move, Jinyang said, pointing a weapon at her. For the first time in her life, Ju was captured by humans. Her heart raced with fear as they led her deeper into the base. Stories of human torture chambers filled her mind. Instead, they took her to a clean, bright room with medical equipment. A female human in a white coat waited there. The name tag read Minji. Sit down, please, Minji said, gesturing to a bed. When Ju didn't move, Minji repeated the gesture more slowly. Confused, Ju sat. She expected restraints, pain devices, or worse. Instead, Minji simply looked at her with curiosity. Can you understand me? Minji asked, speaking slowly and clearly. Ju understood the basic words from her research but didn't respond. She was too afraid. Minji noticed a small cut on Ju's arm from the crash. Without warning, she cleaned it with a soft cloth. The gentle touch startled Ju more than pain would have. Why are you here? Jinyang asked. Are there more of you? Ju remained silent, but her thoughts raced. These humans weren't acting like the monsters from Koru stories. Back at the outpost, Taehyun paced nervously. Ju had been gone too long. I'm going after her, he told Minho. Stay with Dohyun. Minho tried to stop him. Commander, you can't go alone. She's my sister, Taehyun said. I won't leave her to the humans. He took his best weapons and headed toward the human base. Years of hunting experience guided him as he moved silently across the ice. Taehyun reached the base and searched for a way in. He found the same door Ju had used. Inside, he followed small marks she had left on the walls. A Koru tracking technique. The marks led him to the medical section. Through a window, he saw something that stopped him cold. Ju sat on a bed, not tied down or restrained. A human female was examining her arm, treating her wound. Most shocking of all, Ju didn't look afraid. She was watching the humans with curiosity, much like how she studied specimens in her lab. As Taehyun moved closer to the window, an alarm sounded. Red lights flashed, and heavy doors began to close. Intruder detected in Section 3, announced a mechanical voice. Taehyun ran, trying to reach Ju, but humans in security uniforms appeared from all directions. He fought, knocking two down with quick strikes, but more kept coming. A strange energy pulse hit him from behind. His muscles stopped working, and he fell to the floor, unable to move. The last thing Taehyun saw before blackness took him was Ju's face, looking down at him with worry. And behind her, humans who looked concerned, not cruel. Taehyun woke up slowly. His head hurt, and his body felt heavy. He was lying on a soft bed in a bright room. For a moment, he thought he was back on Delzer. Then he remembered the failed hunt, the crash, and his capture. He tried to sit up quickly but found he couldn't move his arms. Looking down, he saw soft restraints around his wrists. Not painful, just secure. "You're awake," said a voice. Taehyun turned his head to see Ju sitting nearby. She wasn't restrained or injured. In fact, she looked calm. "Ju, are you hurt? Did they torture you?" Taehyun asked, his voice urgent. Ju shook her head. "No, brother. No one has hurt me. They've been kind." Taehyun couldn't believe it. Kindness from humans. It had to be a trick. The door opened, and 3 humans entered. Taehyun recognized Hyejin and Jinyoung from before. The third was a tall male with a serious face. "I am Sunwoo, commander of this base," the tall human said. "Your sister has been helping us communicate." Taehyun looked at Ju in shock. "You're helping them?" "I'm learning from them," Ju replied. "Brother, everything we know about humans is wrong." Before Taehyun could respond, Sunwoo pressed a button on the wall. A screen lit up, showing pictures of Koru ships near Earth. "We've known about your people for years," Sunwoo said. "Every hunt you thought was successful, we allowed those encounters." Taehyun stared at the screen. It showed human ships tracking Koru vessels, staying just out of detection range. "That's not possible," Taehyun said. "We are the apex predators. Humans are primitive." Sunwoo shook his head. "Is this primitive?" He showed another image, a massive human fleet hiding in the shadow of Mars. "We could have destroyed every Koru ship that entered our system. Instead, we watched and waited." Ju moved closer to her brother. "They returned the humans you captured through secret diplomatic channels. Our government knows this, Taehyun. They've been lying to us." Taehyun couldn't process what he was hearing. His entire life, his entire career was built on hunting humans. If they could have fought back all along, why? He finally asked. "Why let us think we were hunting you?" "Peace," Hyejin said simply. "We didn't want war. It was easier to let a few Koru hunters believe they were superior than to start a conflict that would cost millions of lives." Jinyoung stepped forward with a small device. "We recorded your hunts. Watch." The screen showed Taehyun's last hunt before the Europa mission. He saw his ship approach a human vessel. But now he saw something new. Human weapons locking onto his ship but never firing. "You could have destroyed us," Taehyun whispered, the truth finally sinking in. "Yes," Sunwoo said, "just as we could have killed you when your ship crashed here. Instead, we let you hide and watched to see what you would do." Ju touched her brother's arm. "They have medicine for Doyeon. They sent a team to help him as soon as they captured me." Taehyun looked up, surprised. "You're helping him? Why?" "Because that's what humans do," Minji said from the doorway. She had just entered with medical supplies. "We help those in need, even our enemies." Sunwoo removed Taehyun's restraints. "You're not our prisoner, Commander. You're our guest. We want peace between our species, not war." Taehyun rubbed his wrists, his mind racing. Everything he believed about humans, about himself, about his place in the galaxy. It was all built on lies. "There's more," Ju said gently. "Show him the transmission records, Sunwoo." Sunwoo pressed another button. The screen showed messages between Koru ships and the Imperial Palace on Delzar. "Your Emperor has known about our true capabilities for decades," Sunwoo explained. "The myth of human weakness was created to maintain control over your people." Taehyun read the messages with growing anger. His hunts, his medals, his entire life's work, all part of a carefully constructed lie. "Why would our leaders do this?" he asked, his voice hollow. "Control," Ju said simply. "Fear of the unknown keeps people obedient. They made us fear humans while secretly communicating with them." Taehyun stood up. his legs unsteady but his mind clear for the first time. The greatest hunter of humans had never truly hunted at all. He had been a pawn in a game played by his own leaders. "I need to see Do-hyun," he said. "And then we need to talk about what happens next." Tae-hyun stood beside Do-hyun's bed in the Human Medical Center. His officer looked much better. His scales had returned to their normal blue color, and he was breathing easily. "The human doctor saved my life," Do-hyun said, still sounding surprised. She knew exactly how to treat a Koru wound. "They've been studying us for years," Tae-hyun replied, "just as we studied them. But they learned the truth, while we learned lies." Commander Sunwoo entered the room, carrying a small device. "If you're ready, I'd like to show you something important." He led Tae-hyun and Ju-woo to a large meeting room. Maps and charts covered the walls. Some showed Koru territory, others showed human planets. In the center was a three-dimensional map of the galaxy. "This is what we know about your empire," Sunwoo said, pointing to a red section of the map. "And this is human space." He pointed to a blue section, much larger than Tae-hyun had been taught. "Impossible," Tae-hyun said. "Humans only have a few colonies." "We have over 200 worlds," Sunwoo replied. "We've been exploring space for 300 years. Ju-woo studied the map carefully. "Our teachers said humans only left Earth 100 years ago." "Another lie," Sunwoo said. He pressed a button, and the room darkened. Images appeared on all walls, human cities on different planets, space stations, and fleets of ships. "This is Mars Colony, founded 200 years ago," Sunwoo explained. "These are the Jupiter stations, 180 years old. This is New Terra in the Alpha Centauri system." Tae-hyun walked around the room, looking at each image. Human civilization was vast and advanced, far beyond what any Koru knew. "If you're so powerful, why hide it?" Tae-hyun asked. "Why let us hunt you?" Hae-jin stepped forward. 20 years ago, when we first detected your ships entering our system, we had two choices: show our strength and risk war, or study you quietly. We chose peace," Sunwoo continued. "We learned that Koru society values hunting and combat skills above all else. If we showed our true power, your leaders would feel threatened. They might attack out of fear. So you pretended to be weak," Ju-woo said, understanding. "Yes, we allowed some contact. When your hunters captured our people, we made sure they were treated well and eventually returned through secret diplomatic channels." Tae-hyun felt sick. "My whole career was a lie. I never truly captured anyone who wasn't allowed to be captured." Sunwoo showed them more images, recordings of past Koru hunts. Now Tae-hyun could see what he missed before: human ships that could have easily escaped or fought back, but chose not to. "Here's your famous 93rd hunt," Sunwoo said. The screen showed Tae-hyun's ship approaching a small human vessel. "Watch carefully." Tae-hyun saw his ship fire a warning shot. The human ship seemed to panic and try to escape. But now, with new eyes, he saw the truth. The human ship's engines were running at half power. Their weapon systems were active but never used. "They could have destroyed us," Tae-hyun whispered. "Yes," Sunwoo said simply. "But that human captain had orders to allow capture if necessary. We wanted to learn more about you, not fight you." "All those medals, all that glory," Tae-hyun said bitterly, "for hunting prey that wasn't even trying to escape." Ju-woo put her hand on her brother's shoulder. "You didn't know." "There's something else you should see," Minji said, entering the room. She handed Sunwoo a datapad. Sunwoo showed it to the Koru siblings. It contained messages between Emperor Sung and human diplomats. Secret agreements, trade deals, peace treaties. "Your emperor has been working with us for years," Sunwoo explained. "The hunting is allowed as a safety valve. It keeps your warriors occupied while our governments work together in secret." "But why keep it secret from the Koru people?" Ju asked. "That was your emperor's choice, not ours," Sunwoo said. "He believed your society wasn't ready to accept humans as equals. The myth of human inferiority keeps the traditional power structure in place. Taehyun stared at the evidence, his world completely shattered. His greatest achievement, being the hunter of humans, meant nothing. The humans had never been hunted at all. "What happens now?" he asked. 3 days after their capture, the Koru detected a signal from space. A rescue fleet from Delzer had arrived, responding to the Silent Claw's automatic distress beacon. 5 warships, Sunwoo said, looking at the scanner. "They're demanding we release you." Taehyun watched the Koru ships on the screen. Once, the sight would have filled him with pride. Now he only felt anger at the lies. "What will you do?" he asked Sunwoo. "That depends on you," the human replied. "We don't want to fight, but we won't pretend to be weak anymore." Taehyun thought for a moment. Then he made a decision that would change everything. "Let me speak to them," he said, "and I want to make an offer." When Taehyun contacted the Koru fleet, he spoke with Admiral Jun, an old friend. "Taehyun, we feared you were dead," Jun said. "We're preparing to attack the human base and rescue you." "No attack is necessary," Taehyun replied calmly. "The humans have treated us well. In fact, they saved Do-hyun's life." Admiral Jun looked confused. "But they're your prisoners." "No, Admiral. We are their guests now." Taehyun took a deep breath. "And I'm returning to Delzer with 2 human representatives. They are coming voluntarily as diplomats, not as captives." There was silence on the communication line. Then Jun spoke, his voice cold. "Emperor Sung ordered us to bring you home with a human specimen for the zoo, not human diplomats." "The Emperor's orders have changed," Taehyun lied. "I will explain everything when we arrive." 2 hours later, Taehyun, Juwoo, and Do-hyun boarded the Koru flagship. With them were Jinhyum and Sunwoo, who had volunteered to come as human representatives. The journey to Delzer took 6 days. During that time, Taehyun and Juwoo shared everything they had learned with Do-hyun. At first, he didn't believe them. But as they showed him the evidence Sunwoo had provided, Do-hyun finally accepted the truth. "All those years," Do-hyun said sadly, "all those hunts, they were playing with us." "Not playing," Juwoo corrected him, "choosing peace over conflict." Meanwhile, the human delegates spent time with the Koru crew, teaching them about Earth and answering questions. Many Koru were surprised by the humans' knowledge of Koru biology, language, and customs. As they approached Delzar, Taehyun grew more nervous. He knew Emperor Sung would be furious about the human diplomats. The Emperor wanted to keep the truth hidden from ordinary Koru citizens. "What will you do when we land?" Ju asked her brother. "Tell the truth," Taehyun replied. "It's time our people knew." The Koru homeworld looked beautiful from space, a green and blue planet much like Earth. The flagship landed near the Imperial Palace, where a crowd had gathered to welcome the famous hunter home. Emperor Sung waited on a grand platform, surrounded by guards and officials. His face showed no emotion as Taehyun led the humans down the ship's ramp. "What is this?" Emperor Sung demanded. "Where is the specimen for our zoo?" Taehyun stepped forward and bowed. "Emperor Sung, I bring human representatives who wish to establish official diplomatic relations with our people." "This was not your mission," the Emperor said coldly. "My mission changed when I discovered the truth," Taehyun replied, looking directly at the Emperor. "The truth you've hidden from our people for decades." The crowd murmured in confusion. Guards moved closer to the Emperor. "Take the humans to holding cells," Emperor Sung ordered, "and arrest Commander Taehyun and his crew for treason." As guards surrounded them, Sunwoo whispered to Taehyun, "This is exactly what we expected." Taehyun nodded slightly. Before they left Earth, he and Sunwoo had made a plan. The truth couldn't be hidden anymore. As they were led away, Ju pressed a small device in her hand. It connected to the Imperial communication system. Soon, every Koru on the planet would learn what their leaders had been hiding. The revolution had begun. The holding cells beneath the imperial palace were cold and dark. Taehyun, Juwoo, and the humans had been there for 6 hours. Guards watched them closely, but no one came to question them. "Do you think it worked?" Taehyun asked Juwoo quietly. She nodded. The device connected to the main communication network. By now, everyone on Delzar has seen the truth. The device Juwoo had activated contained all the evidence they had gathered. The secret messages between Emperor Sung and human leaders, videos of human civilization, and recordings of Taehyun's hunts that showed the humans deliberately holding back. Most importantly, it showed the Emperor's orders to maintain the myth of human weakness to keep control over the Koru people. Suddenly, they heard shouting from above. The sound of many feet running, doors opening and closing. Something was happening in the palace. A young guard appeared at their cell. He looked nervous. "Commander Taehyun," he said, "the city is in chaos. People are demanding answers from the Emperor. Some are calling for your release." Before Taehyun could respond, alarms began to sound throughout the palace. The main doors to the prison area burst open. A group of Koru scientists and young military officers rushed in, led by Admiral Jun. "Release them," Jun ordered the guards. When they hesitated, he added, "Now, by order of the Emergency Council." The cell doors opened. Taehyun stepped out, confused. "Emergency Council, what happened to the Emperor?" "Emperor Sung is being held in his quarters," Jun explained. After the broadcasts went public, many officials came forward with more evidence of his lies. The council voted to remove him until a full investigation is complete. Outside the palace, the streets were filled with Koru citizens. Some looked angry, others confused. All wanted answers. Jun led Taehyun and the others to a large balcony overlooking the main square. Thousands of Koru looked up at them, waiting. "Speak to them," Jun told Taehyun. "They trust you. You were our greatest hero. Now be our greatest truth-teller." Taehyun stepped forward. The crowd grew quiet. "People of Delzar," he began, his voice carrying across the square. "All my life, I believed I was hunting dangerous but inferior creatures. I brought back stories of human weakness to make us feel strong and safe." He paused, looking at the faces below. "I was wrong. We were all wrong. Or rather, we were all lied to." For the next 10 minutes, Taehyun explained everything he had learned. He showed images of human cities, their space fleets, and their advanced technology. He explained how humans had chosen peace even when they could have destroyed Koru ships. "They could have been our enemies," Taehyun said. "Instead, they want to be our friends." He invited Sunwoo to speak. The humans stepped forward, causing murmurs in the crowd. Most had never seen a human up close before. "People of Delzar," Sunwoo said in careful Koru language. "For too long, our species have been kept apart by fear and lies. Today can be the beginning of a new relationship, one built on truth and respect." The crowd was silent at first. Then one young Koru stepped forward. "If humans are so advanced, why did they allow us to hunt them?" she asked. "Because sometimes strength means choosing not to fight," Sunwoo answered. "We believed that eventually we would find a way to communicate peacefully. Today proves we were right." Over the next few days, more human delegates arrived on Delzar. The Imperial Zoo, which had been prepared to display human specimens, was transformed into a cultural center where Koru could learn the truth about Earth and its people. Taehyun was asked to lead a new diplomatic team. His hunting days were over, but his most important work was just beginning. 6 months later, Taehyun stood next to Juwoo on the observation deck of a new ship, the Bridge, the first vessel jointly built by humans and Koru. It would travel between their worlds, carrying diplomats, scientists, and ordinary citizens eager to learn about each other. "What do you think of your new job, brother?" Juwoo asked. "Better than hunting?" Taehyun smiled. "Much better. I spent my life trying to capture humans. Now I'm helping capture something more valuable: understanding." As the ship lifted off from Delzar, heading toward Earth, Taehyun knew that the greatest hunt of his life had led to the most important discovery. The truth that would change his people forever. The end.